We are live for tonight's UFC. Bruce, what's the name? Bruce Beckner. How's everybody doing on this fine? What is it? Tuesday, May 21st. Get inside. So, what's shaking? Tyler, you've made a live chat once again. Just posting my monsters from the weekend. Ooh, monsters. I like monsters. Look at the difference. I'm doing this now when it's light outside. The light that comes in from the window, like, look how beautiful I look. That's sarcasm, clearly. But, like, look at the difference of the light. This is amazing. The light's so good. Jason, it's going good. Congratulations on your little one. Cindy showed me some pictures today of River, right? I hope I'm not messing that up. I think she said your girl's name was River. Congratulations. I saw she had a little CSO onesie as well. I know one of your friends got in contact with Cindy and helped her get that set up. So that's awesome. Love to see it. This is a new setting. The setting's not new. I was here all winter, but it looks new because of the light. I think in the winter time, I'm going to get some of those those lights or whatever behind the screen because this is crazy. It's 7 o'clock, and while it's still light enough outside, I should be outside right now. I should be getting outside because it's nice and light outside, and it's like perfect weather. I came in from outside because I had to get my hat for my truck. I told Cindy, I was like, I really should be fishing. If I was living at the lake right now, I would be fishing 100% right now. So, yes. What is going on? So trying to answer some questions, hanging out. What lake are you cranking for those walleye? That was on Lake of the Prairies. I don't give a lot of the lakes away a lot of times, but Lake of the Prairies is such a good walleye lake. And why I don't ever mind giving Lake of the Prairies away is because you can literally fish every single shoreline and catch fish. You don't have to fish beside another boat. So there isn't like one or two small community spots. The whole lake has fish and has plentiful fish right now from like 19 to 21 inches. It's crazy how many fish are there of that size. The meet and greet was good. After the little Lake of the Prairies tournament, which Carter and I failed at, we finished like mid-pack. I made some poor choices with the cold front. If I could go back, I definitely did things differently, but hindsight's always 2020. But after the meet and greet was good. It was a full restaurant there, and I hope that I got a chance to hang out with everybody that came. There were some people that came that weren't even in the tournament. I got to meet some young fans that came a year ago to another little meet and greet there, and yeah, so it was awesome. I hope I answered the question about the tournament there, Mike. I think the tournament itself was really good. It was well run. There was 30 teams. The person that won it had never fished a tournament before. He brought his little boy with him, Owen, and they caught a 29 and 227-inch walleye. He said it was the best day he's ever had fishing in his life. So I was so happy to see that happen. It was deadly, right? And they won it with no live scope, right? So you don't need live scope to win. You can just, sit up there, anchor up, catch them with a jig and a minnow. And yeah, Clayton, do you sell hats? We do. We actually got some more here. I'll pull them out. They'll be on the website probably in a couple days, but we finally got some more in here, a green one and a black one with some leather patches, some CSO hats. Yes, we do have some more hats that should be back on the website soon. Clayton Schick Outdoors, and yeah, they're really good. Once we sell those out, we'll just keep bringing some more in. But yeah, how's the Garmin side view versus Humminbird side imaging? There's a video coming out tomorrow actually that has some overlay stuff of the side view from Garmin, and I was always under the impression that like Mega Side Imaging was like the best out there. I was super impressed with the imaging from, I don't know where my phone is. I'll like maybe show some clips here, but I was super impressed with the imaging from side view. The new Garmin, the 56 transducer, I forget if it's GT 56. It's 56 HD or UD ultra definition or something like that. I was very impressed with it. Like, kind of blew me away. To be honest with you, the side view was really good. I haven't played with the clear view yet, so I don't know what that's going to be like, but the side view is very, very good. So tomorrow's video, it's already out for members only, but tomorrow it'll come out probably in the morning, and it has like a good 3-4 minutes of the side view shots to show you on there from it. So it was good. What advice would you give for ice fishing Lake of the Prairies? We're going to head back mid-December. Super stoked. Um, I would say fish shallower than you think you should. A lot of times when you're ice fishing, you think you should be like 15 to 25 feet. You'd be surprised how many walleye and bigger size walleye you can catch like in 6 to 10 feet of water. So I was really impressed with Lake of the Prairies and how you could catch the walleye shallow with ice fishing. There's some really cool stuff this year. So the GT 56 is totally comparable to MSI. I agree. I was blown away with it, hands down. What do you think about the little boat you posted on Instagram? I think it was amazing. I don't know if this is a prairie fisherman, if that was you, but if that was, you're one of the young gentlemen there that I met yesterday. So if you this to be get you familiar with this is yesterday or the other day I was at Lake of the Prairies at my parents' place, and a quad came by, and I've talked with these young kids before, and they had this little boat pulling behind this trailer, right? Like straight, like just rigged it up, right? Like he spent all winter in the garage making floorboards in there. It's just like a little 10-12 foot tinner. He has a Vantage trolling motor on the back so they can go out and go fishing. And I was loving it because it took me back to my roots. So the boat was awesome. I think that's so good. Like literally, if I went back like 30 years, like when I was 11 years old, that would be me 100%. That was you, prairie fisherman. That is so cool. What you're doing there is awesome. Keep it up. I look forward to seeing you again out there, and hopefully I can get you in my boat for a couple hours when I'm out there at some point. So maybe we can go be in a CSO video at some point. I would love to get you in there. Is the new Kalen's landing net you've been using? Yes, it is, and it's been really good. I used it at the end of the season last year, and now I'm using it again this year, and I've been very happy with it. It was really good. Have I got to boundary this year yet? I have not got to boundary yet this year. So hopefully I can get to boundary at some point. I have a very, very short guiding season this year. So yeah. Has there ever been a lake that you fished that you would never want to return to? Yes, there is a couple lakes that I fished that I never want to return to. There is. Usually I fish a lake, I'm like, I want to go back, but sometimes if it's a small little body of water and it was like there just wasn't much there to offer, where it was like I kind of fished the whole lake in one day, and I didn't really have a lot of bigger fish. There were a lot of tiny fish kicking around. That was it. It didn't feel like I had the opportunity for anything at all. I just don't really have a good like. I just could care less to kind of go back because there's so many different lakes out there to fish. So, Spring Laker video, very potentially, yes. Mark Daniels Jr. YouTube has a good breakdown of electronics. Wheeler breaks it down. Good. I'll check that out. How would you find bigger pike? Only catching medium to small ones in a river. If you're catching medium ones, the big ones could be there at some point too. If you're catching a lot of small ones, likely the bigger ones aren't there. In a river itself, I honestly wouldn't know too much about that. Like generally, if you're fishing pike in a bay and you're catching a bunch of smaller ones to the right, sometimes I'd be like, why don't you cast out the left side into the middle of the bay? And sometimes you could like catch the bigger fish that way. So yeah, as a river, I honestly don't know too much of like where to find or suggestions to find the bigger pike. Um, Generally, sometimes the bigger fish are just spending more time out there than anything, right? Like you're always going to usually catch like 100 small pike before you finally catch one that's big, if that makes sense. What's your go-to net for the bigger Lakers? I was using a Fraybill Stowaway. The one I have is almost one size too big, though. I think I like to get one size that's a bit smaller. The Conservation series from Fraybill is pretty good for like the medium to almost big Lakers, but like I put a 43-inch Laker in that Conservation series net, and I was like a little bit. I would have used my bigger one. So a Fraybill Stowaway is what I was using for the Lakers. What's the average water temp up there right now? I'd say probably in the lakes I've been fishing, it's like mid 50s. I was on like a really good bite where the water was 60 degrees. And then we had a cold front out here and it dropped it down to like 54, 55 degrees and totally changed everything I was doing. What do you think about casting spoons to pike? Spoons to pike work. I don't use it a lot. Just because there's so many different cool baits out there. I don't have a lot of my guests do it either, because to cast a spoon out, it should be more than just a cast and straight retrieve. It should be kind of like fast reeling it, let it flutter a little bit down, reel it, twitch it, jerk it around. So it's kind of a lure that you use that you should add some action to it. It's not always good just to cast it out and straight retrieve it. Can you do it like that? 100%. But a part of like working a spoon really good is letting it flutter around and kind of dance and do things like that. Even you can work a spoon as a topwater bait too. Maybe not like a heavier spoon like a Len Thompson or something like that, but an old crocodile, not a crocodile spoon, a gator spoon. You can like brain it on the top and you can skip it along like top water. So you can do quite a bit with that. The CDB podcast in a couple of minutes. I thought they were on Mondays. That's why I did this on Tuesday. Stuart, yes, a CSO live chat, and I'm not on call. There you go. You made it, Stuart. You made it. You told me you wanted a live chat when you weren't working. Well, here you go. What would you use for trolling that the fish won't come off? If you're trolling if you're trolling for fish and they're starting to come off, it's probably a rod problem. As in, you want more of a moderate bend rod. So if you're having a lot of fish come off and you only have, say, a fast action rod and you're trolling, switch to monoline instead of braid. If you use braid on a fast action rod and you're trolling, as soon as your rod gets like its full capacity, now you have no give. So anytime you put pressure on there, the hooks are just going to pull. Like say if I took this paper clip right here and there was no give anymore, right? So the rod is at the full capacity. The braid doesn't have any stretch in it. This hook's just going to slowly bend out and open up, or it's going to put so much pressure that hook's just going to pop right out of the fish's mouth. But if you have enough pressure, if you have enough bend or give in your line, your mono, and stretch, it's not going to get to that point where the hook's going to pull or bend out. So if my general rule is, if you're going to troll with a rod that is a fast action rod, you're going to want to use mono. Sorry, you can get a fast action rod, you want to use mono. Yes, what I said. Fast action rod, use mono. If you can use a moderate rod, mono will still work perfectly fine, but then you can get away with braid a lot of times, if that makes any sense. So, Dason. Thank you, Cindy, for the awesome gift. Make sure you buy Cindy a shot. Dason just left a pile of money in the super chat. Dason, you're not supposed to do that. That's a gift from us for your little one. But we're going to have a shot for you. I got a brand new bottle of Fireball from Blake. Yes. So, oh, Dason. Dason, question. Actually, we'll ask you the question in the members chat later. I got a question for you, but I'll ask you in the members chat after. Cheers to you, Dason, and your little one. And to Jesse Nelson, we're going to answer your question as well. Fireball. What's a Fireball?
I'll have slush.
You'll have slush? That's what this is. What kind of depth should a guy fish for Lakers this time of year in structure, 50 degrees and lower? Shallow and usually sand. A lot of sand right now. We use a definition up north, like bang the sand, like 10 feet of water and banging the sand. A lot of your suckers are going to be in those sand bays and just sand in general. A little rock transition where it's some scattered rocks to sand is always good. But for the most part, sand, like big sand flats, anything like that, shallow is what I would do. And troll pretty quick. And spoons work really good for that, for in the shallower water, like a Husky Junior, something like that. And troll them quick. Like troll them like at 3 mile an hour. So when they troll them slow enough, they don't blow out. Blow out means they kind of like skip up to the surface. And lots of line. Get lots of line out there too. Get your lure away from the boat. Lots of turns, stuff like that. Like sometimes I'll even use planer boards just to get the bait away from the boat. So hope that helps a little bit. Cindy, grab the catfish. We will. Do you use spinner baits? I don't use a lot of spinner baits. I use a lot of inline spinners though for pike. I do. Mark, what's happening with you? Brandon, do you use spinner baits? Oh, yes, it again. What line do you use? I mostly use Suffix 832 braid and Suffix 832 G-Core. There's Tigger. Because he was just yelling
I think
earlier,
we're
hey?
gonna go outside.
He wants to go. Tigger is in love with the acreage. He's been chasing birds and gophers and squirrels. And the other day he caught a bird. Well, he technically didn't catch it. The bird hit the window, was half dead. And I compare Tigger to a lot to the kid that you have at a basket on your basketball team that you just put under the hoop and you just keep throwing him the ball until he finally gets a basket. That's Tigger. They're gonna go outside. Clayton, will you make a film in the States? I don't know if I will this year. At some point, I'd like to get down there. I really want to go fish one spring. I want to go fish Fort Peck. Yes, I want to go fish Fort Peck. Brett, Tiller Life, did you get a boat, my friend? Did you get that boat you posted me the picture of? Or you sent me the picture of? When are you going to post another video? Tomorrow. Right now, I'm on a Sunday, Wednesday kick. I should be able to have Sunday and Wednesdays for the whole summer. If I get more videos cranking out, then I'll try to put some more in between. But right now, it's a Sunday, Wednesday, and the odd time I'll have 3 in a week. But there'll be another video coming out tomorrow. So I've got 2 open water videos out now, and we're just going to keep rolling, keep on keeping. What's your favorite lake to fish? Um, probably Last Mountain's one of my favorite lakes to hit. I like that lake for big walleye, big pike, good sized perch, and Lake of the Prairies is another one should as well. Getting there should be underway within a month. That's awesome. Good for you, Brett. Fort Peck, good pick. Yes. Have you considered an Ontario video series? I'd like to come out of Ontario. The problem is it's just so far to go from all these lakes that I have in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and more so in Manitoba. I spent a lot of time in Manitoba just because there's so many different bodies of water to fish, so many different species of fish. I love it out there. So it's hard to come all the way out to Ontario when I have such good fishing close to me. So I would like to get out to Lake of the Woods sometime and do some muskie. I would like to go back to Nipissing one day and chase muskie there again too, but I don't have anything in the near future plans at all though right now. When's the next mountain video? I don't know because I really want to go do some camping for in the ducks or something like that and go chase around some smallies and walleye in there. Maybe do some trout fishing as well. But I just want to do some more adventure stuff. So I don't know when I'm going to be fishing the mountain for sure. I might possibly wait till August because Carter and I are going to fish the Rowan's tournament this year. So I might wait to fish Last Mountain until the fall, but I'm not sure yet. Do you like fishing for pike? I love fishing for pike. Do you fly fish? I do fly fish, but mostly for predator fish. I throw 9, 10, and 12 weights. I don't really like to throw a lot of smaller stuff for the little trout. And that I like to throw big stuff. I like to catch big pike, lake trout on that, all of that on the fly rod. So I like a fly rod, but for the um, bigger stuff. What's going on, Blake? We already had 1 shot, 2 shots, 1 shot of the fireball, Blake. Right there, Blake bought me a bottle of fireball here for the channel for the live chat. So, yeah. What's your biggest fish? My biggest fish ever would be the Goliath grouper that I caught in the States. It was 80 inches by 60 inches around. It's on the Uncut Angling YouTube channel. How often do you bottom bounce? Almost never. Almost never bottom bounce. It's obviously a super effective technique. I just find it a little bit boring in the sense of like just going around that mile an hour and not really seeing what's going on. That being said, the live imaging, being able to watch my spinner down there and get a feel for what's going on, I enjoy it a little bit more. I don't like when I feel like I'm not in control of the situation. If I'm jigging or if I'm casting, I feel like I'm in control. I feel like sometimes when I'm pulling a bottom bouncer, I'm not so much in control of the situation where it's like I have to get lucky and bring that bait over the fish. But it's hard to explain, but I just don't enjoy it as much as like an active style of fishing. It's very effective though. There's no doubt about it. Hey, Clayton will be fishing the Red River all this year. Um, I do have to do a catfishing video at some point. I might fish the Red River, yes. Again, it probably wouldn't be till the fall time. I do want to try to sneak up to Hecla though in the spring yet, hopefully. So yeah. What line can a pike break? A pike can pretty much break any line depending on if it twists and turns and kind of gets wrapped up in it. But I like for pike mostly using like close to the lure. I like using a steel leader of some kind, usually at least 12 inches, sometimes 18 inches, depending on what you're doing. but I don't like using like a mono or whatever. I usually use for like the main line. That all depends on the size of bait that you're using. If I'm going to use a smaller lure, I'm using a 20-pound braid. If I'm using a real big lure, then I'm throwing a 65-pound braid. You're more so matching your line into your style of rod and the style of bait that you're fishing. It's not necessarily the size of the fish that you're trying to catch. Because if you try using a small little bait on 40-pound test, that bait's not going to have the proper action. So the line matchup is more important towards the lure you're using and the rod that you're using. Will this cold front slow down the walleye a little bit? It sure will. You're going to have to usually go a little bit slower, low, slow, and live bait, or like dead minnows or something like that, usually a lot of times. I applied at Wollaston. At Wollaston, got any tips to get the job? At this point, they're probably not even hiring anymore. But the biggest thing I would say is like just keep applying, and send your resume, and send them a message, or an email of why you would like to get hired as a guide and why you're qualified, and etc. Right? Don't just send your resume and say, here's my resume, I'd like a job. Sell yourself, right? Like, sell yourself, and don't be like, oh, I'm so good at fishing and I've been fishing forever. Like, sell yourself on like what kind of person you are and why you want to guide more than anything, something like that. Our topwater hook's good for pike. I love topwater for pike. Like, love it. Topwater, like a whopper plopper, something like that. Amazing. What kind of treble hook do you use for trolling on a lure? It all depends, right? You want to use a treble that's going to match the size of the bait, but I like the VMC trebles, the Barbarian or the round bend trebles are probably some of the best trebles that I've used. Tyler, I hope that helps, buddy. Yesterday, I lost 3 fish and almost lost my lure, but I got it back with my swivel. Well, that's good luck. Hi, Clayton. Do you have a slip bobber winner? I haven't picked the slip bobber winner yet. There, Marty. I'm going to, and I won't announce it in tomorrow's video, Wednesday, but I'll try to announce it in Sunday, because I thought I would do it on the boat, but I've already got my next like 3 videos already filmed, and I'm in the editing stage, so I have to like kind of do the winner of the other side of it and then announce it in the video. But I don't have the winner yet. I think there's like 350, 400 entries, something like that. So I don't have the winner picked yet, Marty. But they are. It is in the works for sure. Afternoon, Clayton. Is it too late to enter the giveaway? As long as you commented on that video where I had the slip bobber, you're in right now. I just haven't done the giveaway yet, though. Cheers, Marsh. Need a little drink here. Cindy's got some slush. I don't know what she has in this, but it's good. The slip bobbers are good. What does Clayton do when he's not fishing? What does Clayton do when he's not fishing?
He does my outside chores.
I do chores. I do the outside. I cut the grass. Oh my goodness. How relaxing is it to cut the grass on a nice evening on a riding lawnmower? Oh, I just put on my Beats headphones and I listened to some podcasts, some fishing podcasts, and it was like, this is amazing. It was so relaxing. Like, that hour could not, I could have did a whole another hour. I'm on the riding lawnmower doing the thing, and then Cindy's doing the little push weed trimmer around all the edges and stuff. I had the easy job.
We built a garden bed.
Yes, we built a garden bed as well outside, so we can feed the deer. And yeah.
Evenings we play lots of board games.
Oh, look at this. It says ads will run shortly for some viewers. Here you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna skip the ads. I skipped the ads for that one, so you guys aren't gonna get any ads there. Looks like I can skip them. That's the first time I've ever seen that come up. Did you win the Lake of the Prairies Derby? No, we did not. And I think we were 15th out of 30th. So mid-pack. Made some poor choices on my behalf. Caught lots of beautiful fish, right? We had 109 inches, but it just was not good enough. So we need always, I haven't talked to Carter about it yet, but I want to talk to him about the tournament and like what can we take away from it, because when you do something like that and you don't win, there's stuff you can take away from it. Like, what could have we had done to do better, right? And I have things that was like, you know what, if I could go back and redo it, it would change a lot. I don't think we would have won though in terms of what the winner caught. The winner got 3 gorgeous fish. I wouldn't say lucky, but obviously there's a little bit of luck in that sense. But yeah, it was a good fun tournament, but I definitely needed to be better for sure. Why won't the fish bite during this time of the year more often? This time of year, they're pretty sluggish. Just slow down your presentation would be my best bet. Do you like to go hunting? I love to hunt. I just haven't done it the last 2 years. I should be getting back into it this year. I'm going to put in for some draws possibly. And yeah, probably some hunting right out my back door now as well. Hey Clayton, nice seeing you on Sunday at Prairie Lake Lodge. It was a blast. Dane from Whitewood. Hi Dane, it was good to see you, little buddy. At some point, hopefully we can get out fishing together. It was awesome to see you. Thanks for coming and taking a photo and hanging out for a little bit. I appreciate seeing you 2 years in a row. It's awesome. What's your bucket list Canadian fishing trip? Probably Great Bear. I'd say Great Bear, but I would like to do like I'd love to go to Great Bear, but I'd love to guide myself. I'd love to be the one driving the boat and doing it, right? Like nothing against the guided side of things. Just been guiding for so long. I just like to do it on my own. I'd like to try a moose hunting video. Would you ever make a hunting video? I would. I would now. Seems like YouTube's kind of cracked down a little bit on that again. But I think at some point I would definitely like to make some hunting videos for sure. Excuse me. Who is your spark? Who is the OG, your fishing role model, and your biggest influence? Probably my parents. They'd always go on these tournaments, and I would be at home wanting to fish these tournaments so bad and like go out fishing, right? Like it's funny because it was like I was like, why are you taking mom, dad? You should be taking me and whatever, right? But that was their thing. They went out and fished and did it. So my parents were definitely like my biggest like people that got me into the whole sport from the start. Supported us as a family. Like got a little boat and then a little bit bigger boat and a little bit bigger boat, right? They kind of build up. So yeah, let's say for sure my parents for sure. Are you doing the main prize tournament? I don't think I am. Don't think I am. Sarah, hello, hello. Hey, Clayton, Cindy was saying you guys got a place at Lake of Prairies now. We have a lot, but we haven't built anything. It'll be a couple of years before we. Have you tried kayak fishing? I've never kayak fish. I think at some point I'd maybe like to try it, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Do you still keep in touch with Mr. Uncut? Aaron Weeb would like to see the OG collab again. I chat with him once in a while. I haven't chatted with him for a couple months now, but once in a while we chat. We definitely don't talk like we used to, though, for sure. Got myself two 28 and 29 beautiful greenbacks just last night. That's amazing. Tried out the crankbaits, but got no jig and a minnow. It's so hard to beat the jig and a minnow this time of year when the water's colder. Like once the water starts to warm up, the fish are a little bit more active. The crankbaits are going to like relay or stand out even more. But I noticed that too. I have a video coming out tomorrow where it was like I did a little crankbait thing, and then I went out after to do like a casting plastics thing, and the water was so cold it was like I had to go to a jig and a minnow. And that was a mistake I made in the tournament. It's like I never switched to the jig and minnow early enough. Like I didn't start fishing the jig and the minnow till like 4 hours into the derby. So it would have been a little bit different story if we would have started fishing that right from the start. So Amanda and I are looking to get a lot on Lake the Prairies. I would recommend Lake the Prairies for a lot for sure. Drew, Carter and I were mid-pack at the Walleye Mafia tournament. Was not a very successful outing. I'm not going to make a video from the tournament, but I'm going to talk about the tournament a little bit in an upcoming video. Because I have a video not tomorrow, but my next one should be on Sunday, where I pre-fished for it, and I got like 115 inches in the pre-fish, and I was like talking about it, and it wasn't like where I felt confident, but I was like, I think I have a game plan. Then I never got back to fish again for 4 days before the tournament. I never pre-fished at all, and when that cold front hit, I should have spent some time fishing the day before for sure, just to kind of get a feel for what was going on. Do you have an ultralight rod, and what would you use it for? I have a couple ultralight rods, and I would say for the smaller fish like perch and crappie, something like that is what I would use it for mostly. Have you ever thought about going into the walleye tour for competitive fishing? I've always thought about it in the sense it'd be really cool, but I like the lifestyle that I have where I can just kind of go out and fish when I want and do my thing. I like to fish a couple tournaments here and there. Like I told Cindy the other day, I was like, the competitions for me, like lots of people get like worked up and excited about it. It's like for me, it's just another day of fishing. Obviously, I try to do my best at it and try to compete at the highest level you can, but it for me it just doesn't get my blood going. I think a lot of it is to some of the tournaments where you have restrictions where you can only keep your two biggest fish and you got to keep like three underneath the slot level, or like the Lake of the Prairies tournament that's six fish that are 17 inches. I can't get excited for that. I like to try to go out and catch the biggest fish possible on that lake. Like, it's all relative to what lake I'm going to and what I'm doing, but I like to chase like the biggest of the bigs. Yes, there's times where I set out goals for myself and it's like, I'm just going to go, I'm going to catch a couple fish to eat for shore lunch or whatever. But generally I like to look for the biggest fish in the lake. That's kind of like the thing I've always enjoyed doing. It's like, I want to hunt the big fish. So have a great summer. Tight lines to you as well, Jeff. Hope all is well. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know. I was wondering how you guys made out. You're very welcome. How does Garmin Quick Draw compare to Humminbird Auto Chart? I haven't got to play with the Quick Draw yet, so I can't answer that question. I'm going to hopefully do some stuff in the near future, though, and go to some lakes that aren't mapped already, where I don't even have any auto chart, and do some stuff with the Quick Draw. What I might do as well, too, even some lakes that I have the auto chart, I might do some Quick Draw stuff myself and kind of see what it looks like. So I cannot answer that question for you yet. Whereas I could answer about the side view versus like the mega side imaging. I was very impressed with that, but I just have no experience with the Quick Draw yet, so I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's just as good because I don't know yet. What's your favorite casting lure for walleye? Has to be a 3/8 ounce Pendu jig with a 3.8 inch tickle tail. It's one of my go-tos. It's been so good. What kind of fishing rods can withstand from breaking? Any fishing rod shouldn't break on you if you're treating it properly. Like, if you're using too heavy of a line and too big of lures on a lighter rod, you can break it. Generally, you're never going to break it with any fish, unless again you're using like a super ultra light on a big fish and you just kind of give it the gears. But every rod out there shouldn't break. If the rod breaks, no problem. There's something wrong with that rod. I'm using the Elliott and the 2B series rods, and they've been very good for me. I think I blew up one rod, and it was because I high sticked it completely. It was bad. High sticking means, so why you could break rods a lot sometimes is if you lift up too high like this and you have it up here and then it starts to bend at an awkward angle up top, you can just break that whole tip off. So, and another thing too, never reel your bait or your fish in too close to the rod, or you're going to break that rod tip as well. So if you're breaking rods, it's probably something that you're doing. It's probably not the rod. When buying off the shelf crankbaits, do you put beefier trebles or just leave as is? Depends on the crankbait. The Bandit crankbaits I was using from Lure Net, sometimes I had to beef up the hooks. The Reef Runners now that I'm using, I haven't changed the hooks at all. I'll usually tell you on my videos if I'm like replacing the hooks. I'll just say like, hey, I'm using these VMC Barbarians. Like the Acme Hyper Rattles, I upsize the treble, one for each. But when I upsize, I keep that treble for the next size. So if I take the treble off the biggest size Hyper Rattle, I'll actually put that treble on the medium size Hyper Rattle, and I'll only put on like the newest, the Barbarian treble on that actual the biggest bait, a Hyper Rattle that I'm using. Not a lot of the companies have their good hooks. Sometimes they're just maybe a little bit shy for the most part. Like, they're not quite as big, and it's all relative to what you're fishing for. For eater walleye, no problem, but for like bigger walleye, I like a little bit bigger hook. You started throwing jigs. You didn't start throwing jigs till 4 hours in. Yeah, we threw jigs and plastics all day. Sarah used some plastic bait all day and slayed them. Yeah, our plastic was like very hit and miss for sure. So rookie move for sure, Stuart. We'll give you this one. You beat us this one. Do you use any ugly sticks? I don't use any ugly sticks. What's better, G Loomis or St. Croix? I think they both make good rods from what I know and what I've used. I couldn't really tell you which one's better or not. Just want to say thanks to the videos. I've learned a lot from help me on my first Master Angler Laker this winter. If you ever need a fishing buddy in the Flin Flon area, I'm your guy. That's awesome. Congratulations on your first Master Angler Laker. That's awesome. Deadly. Self-improvement question. What skills do you work out on this year? Fishing, personal, video production. What does Clayton think he needs to work on? I always like to just learn different techniques out for fishing. I've got that very addictive personality where it's like when I do something, I'm all in on it. Whereas when I was young, I played hockey, I was all in on it. I golfed, I was all in on it. Like I was on the golf course, like 36 holes a day, driving range, etc. Right? Like when I golfed, I was all in. I played poker for a couple years when I was in college, online poker, and played heads up, and I was like all in on that, right? Like I'm super all in for something. And that when it was like when I found like the YouTube side of it, I was like, okay, I'm going all in on this. So I think the biggest thing with that to feed that like addictive personality is like I get bored of the same thing over and over again. So I like to try different things. I want to go out and I want to catch them. I want to catch the walleye one way, and then the next time I want to catch them a different way. I want to learn a new technique to catch them again, right? And same with species. I don't want to go always do the same species over and over and over again. And you're going to turn yourself into a better angler if you learn to master different techniques and different species instead of just the same species. And then you'll be surprised. You'll go out and you'll fish for pike, and you'll be like, "Wow, I could use this walleye fishing," or vice versa, right? So those are the things I want to just keep on working on. Video production, I'd like to get a little bit better with too, and then personal life, I just like to spend more time around the acreage if I can, and just get make this place look nice. Make sure Cindy's happy with like our patio and that stuff, right? Like try to spend as much time as I can with that as well. So those are the three of the things that Clayton wants to work on this year. Does scented plastic versus regular plastic makes a big difference on walleye? I believe scent plays a huge thing for sure. I don't know about the scent and the plastic. Um, I like to say like having like a good scent at times could be good. I haven't messed around with it enough to really say that scent's a killer, but it has to be like when you're fishing it slow, especially maybe on a crankbait where they're following it for a little bit, like watching them follow on the live scope where it's like over and over and they follow it for like sometimes 10, 15 feet. I tried dropping it back. I tried going forward. I tried all that stuff, but maybe some little bit of scent on there would seal the deal, right? So it's something I definitely want to play around with more, but I think scent is a big thing for sure. How can I get started as a fishing guide? I'm a freshman in high school and live in Wisconsin. If you want to get started, you're going to have to like literally start from the bottom. You're going to want to try to get a job at some kind of lodge or operation and maybe be the dock guy, right? Maybe you just want to like help around the lodge, and then you can spend some time in the boat and then maybe take out a couple clients and a couple more clients. Be willing to start from the bottom as a guide. Don't be like, hey, I want a guide and expect them to just throw you right in a boat and say, here you go. You're going to have to work your way up, but find some place that wants to like invest in you, and then you can obviously invest in that lodge or maybe a personal guide or something like that, right? Like maybe you start out as a guide's helper or something. I don't know how it works so much in the States with the lodges and whatnot, right? If they have like operations like we do in Canada. But just be willing to start from the bottom, have a really open mind, and like just want to absorb everything and just take it all in. But guiding is a really good gig. I'm if I went back in my life, I would do the guiding thing 100% 10 times over. So I enjoyed the guiding part of my life, and I still obviously get to guide a little bit, just not as much as I used to. First live chat, happy to be here. Well, we're happy to have you here too, Nick. You catch a fish on a lure trolling. How can you keep them from jumping out of the water and getting away? Well, if they jump out of the water, you're likely a bass or something like that, maybe a trout. It's just part of it. Again, if they're going to jump out of the water lots, I'd say something like a mono line that has a lot of stretch in it. Um, as far as like getting away, just what I covered before, I think if you're having a lot of fish get away from you from trolling, I think you're having a problem with like your style of rod and your line more than anything. What type of areas would you fish in a sand quarry? Wow, I don't know. Maybe like any type of like where there's a little bit of a point or a little bit of a nook or something like that, I'd say for the most part, like anywhere where the transition kind of changes a little bit. Like if it's a big sand dugout and that's it, then I'd say the corners of it, something where there's a little bit of a transition. If it's say a perfectly square sand quarry and the fish are just like circling around it like a trout does sometimes. They just go around the lake. I would just spend more time in one spot and just put your time in there, and eventually the fish will come to you. So that's a good question. I don't really know. I don't have much experience in the sand quarries at all. Interesting. Hello, sir. I'm going to Reindeer Lake at the end of June. What advice do you have for catching Lakers? Thanks in advance. End of June Lakers. They're going to start to be in that transition where they go from shallow to deep. I would say try to find some. If the Reindeer Lake's really big, so you can likely find some colder water, even in the shallows. Look for your water temp somewhere between like 48 and 56 degrees, somewhere in there, and then just spend some time trolling some spoons, some T60s, rattle traps, anything like that. Lots of shoreline structure. But covering water for the most part will be your best bet. If you catch a lake or an area, there's a good chance there could be more in there. So double back and go through that area again. But focus on your water temps, I'd say, for the most part. Look for that like 48 to 56 degrees. It's probably more so that 52 to 56 around that time of year. Is that a lemon orange slush, little 7 Up and vodka? I don't know what Cindy puts in here. Vodka,
Lemonade, orange, and orange juice.
lemonade, orange juice, and vodka.
Flavored vodka or Malibu.
Flavored vodka. Yeah, and then some 7 Up. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? No, we're good. How can you land a fish better without a net? Tiring it out just a little bit more, and then just getting control of that fish, whether you're grabbing it by the tail or the gill plate. Um, don't just like jump in and grab the fish like super quick. Kind of let the fish know that you're there, like a big pike. I'll put my one hand on the top of its head, just lightly, right, to kind of just slow it down, let them know it's there. I take my other hand, I slide it up under its gill plate, grab it, and then I'll let go here, and I can support the fish by the belly of this hand and kind of pick it up. Walleye, best bet is to kind of scoop their belly and come straight up. A lake trout, I'd say for the most part, you're best to grab the tail and then their belly like that to grab them. A lake trout's going to be one of your harder species to catch, but just being when they're around, if they're around the side of the boat thrashing, that's not your time to grab them, right? Like, and if you're super excited and nervous about it, that fish is going to feel that and it's going to do the same. So just be calm more than anything. I've never had luck with cranks. What tips could you give me? Well, prairie fisherman, with your little setup there, I would like back troll your cranks at like 1.6 mile an hour. And I would start with something small. I should have gave you some of those rip and wraps that I had. If I'm next time I see you, I'm going to get you some baits, and you just troll in like 5 to 10 feet of water, and you'll catch them on like the prairies like that for sure. Just like my last video. Um, just find out like how far away, how much line you need to put out for that specific crank. Start with 10 feet and go for a little bit and be like, no, I haven't hit the bottom yet. Then put out 20 feet of line, and then like stay at like 25 feet of line, and then slowly come shallow. And as soon as you say like, oh, okay, I'm in 3 feet, my lure just hit the bottom, now in 20 feet of line and 3 feet of water, you're hitting the bottom. So it's more so probably just putting in the time with it, right? Because Lake of the Prairies too, you're probably sometimes like I am, where it's like you're very impatient and you're like, okay, I haven't caught a fish doing this method yet. I'm ready to try something else. Cranking something where the more fish that you catch on it, the more confidence you'll have in it too. I'll have to try to get you out for a little bit of cranking there sometime there. Get you some of the cranks that I was using. What's your favorite pike lure for slow summer days? A fly. The slower the day, and I'd say a fly of some sort. If you can't use it on a fly rod, like a fly on a spinning rod, where you can have like a little weighted head and you can still throw it out like 30, 40 feet, 50 feet, work it in real slow. But it's really tough to compete against a fly when the fishing is slower. What's your favorite? Have you ever went smelt fishing? I have not went fishing for smelt. No. Is trolling hard or easy than landing it on than fishing on land? Trolling's probably easier than fishing on land for sure, just because you have more options. That being said, if you're on an area on shore that has really good fishing, you might have better success doing that. Heading to Rainy Lake in 6 days, jigging them out or jigs and plastic soap pump. If the water temp's under 60, jig and minnow. If it's above 60, maybe jig and plastics. But if it's under 60, I consider keeping the bait out for sure. From what I've learned lately, had luck putting an inch a dew worm on the back of a treble while trolling crank. So that's interesting. To try that sometime. My OG, my spark, my fishing role model was creeped out by sturgeon. Didn't like the feel of them. Sturgeon are awesome. Clayton, is there any aquatic creature that creeps you out? Um, aquatic creature that creeps me out. I don't think so. Those lampreys are kind of gross. The ones that attach to fish, those things are creepy. I'd say if anything creeped me out, the eels in the states that we sometimes have to deal with, those things are creepy. And not only that, like I was using like 60-pound wire and putting it down where for barracuda, and these eels would cut that wire off like just like crimpers. Like it was crazy. I think those things would be probably one of the creepiest things I've had to deal with. Any tips on targeting buffalo from shore and river? I have no experience with targeting buffalo at all. Excuse me. Um, Zero. I don't know if they're like a carp at all, like where you have to like you don't use nymphs and whatever. I have nothing for you on that at all. I really don't. What head unit are you running for your live scope? On my live scope, I'm running the Garmin 80, the GPS map 8612. The only reason I'm running the GPS maps and not the Echo maps is because I can record on an HDMI onto a recorder. The Echo maps aren't set up for that feature, so I can have better content for the video. If I wasn't recording anything at all, or only needed to record a little bit, then I would use the Echo maps. The Echo maps are awesome. I'm so impressed with how fast they can come off their little quick docking station too. Like you can have it so set up in the boat when you get there. These units just like pop in so quick. I'm so impressed with the Echo Map. That's the first time I used one this year. And once they get the HDMI thing figured out for being able to screen record on them, I will likely switch to all Echo Maps. But I am running the GPS Map 8612. If you were stuck catching one fish for the rest of your life, what would it be? Probably pike. I'd say probably pike. If that was like the only fish I could fish for the rest of my life, likely a pike because they're good eating. They get big, they're nasty. You can usually catch a bunch of them. If I was in Florida, then I'd say tarpon, something like that, right? But right in freshwater, I'd say pike would be the species I'd pick to fish for if I could only pick one. Rod, we're having a super chat. So what are we drinking? We're having Fireball, courtesy of Blake. Blake's the man. Brought a bottle of Fireball to the meet and greet. Here we go. That's what we're drinking, and we're having slush. Cindy has some of her homemade slush here. Orange juice, lemonade, vodka, 7-Up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're having a Fireball. Cheers to you, Rod. Mm. Whew. Fireball. I have the best Fireball story ever. This was before I was doing any filming. I was younger, and one of my buddies brought a little tiny Mickey of Fireball on the ice when we were pike fishing, and that was all we had between the six of us. So it was like we catch one nice fish. It was like everybody got one little shot, and that was it. And he kept it in his front pocket, and it wasn't open. I kept bugging him like, "Give me a shot! Like, give me a shot of it." Finally, took it out of his pocket, and I took a little shot of it, and I put it back in his pocket. And he's like, "You can't do that. We haven't had a big fish yet or anything like that." And about 10 minutes later, he leaned over the hole and the Mickey fell out down the hole and gone. And I was like, well, at least I got one shot of it before you lost it. So, yeah, that's my story with the old Fireball whiskey. I don't mean to be rude, but are fish lazy and don't want to bite no matter what you do and don't feel like doing anything? Fish can do that. Fish go in negative moods. You're not always going to catch them every single time you went out because you know what? It's called fishing. It's not called catching. As cliche and as dumb as that is, fishing isn't supposed to be easy, Tyler. That's the challenge of it. It keeps you coming back for more and more. Thoughts on a deeper sonar ball? Actually, stuff like that's really good, Andrew, but I'm using the Garmin Striker Cast one. They sent me one to try out, and I did go out opening day. I just didn't catch any fish, but it was so cool to go to the lakes or the river and you could cast it out. I was using my pike rod, I casted it out and I could see how deep it was to what I was fishing. It gave me so much information. So I think for situations like that, they're really good. But like I said, the one I was using was the Garmin Striker Cast. I really need to make a video with that at some point. It was really cool. Thinking about getting a live scope for my boat. What are your thoughts? You will not regret it. You will learn so much more about fishing with it and just what fish do, behavior. You'll have piles of fun with it. Even when you're not catching something, you're learning something. I would say that's the biggest thing is like when you're a lot of times if you're fishing without electronics and you're not catching anything, the problem is you're not learning anything at the same time. If you're not catching anything with live scope, you're still learning about what fish are doing. Are there fish even down there? Are they coming to your bait and turning away? Like this lure works, that lure doesn't work. You can see different reactions from them. It's just a mind thing. You just learn more, right? This day and age, it's like all this technology. I get it. Sometimes it seems like it's overkill for everything, but as humans, we love to learn, right? It's like it's our nature. It's like to we want to soak in more and more and more knowledge, as much knowledge as we can. And live scope will do that for you. You won't regret it. And if you're thinking about getting any live imaging, go with the live scope. I've played with every other unit that's out there, and the live scope is 10 times ahead of everything right now. I don't drink beer, but I drink root beer. I like root beer too, Tyler, and I'm gonna have some a root beer when I catch my first 30-inch walleye this year. Was out at Pelican Lake in Orr, Minnesota. For sure, the fish were negative. I think the bass are getting ready to spawn. Crappie too. Fish can be negative, right? It's just, yeah. Live scope is by far the best purchase I've made in years to up my fishing game. That's awesome. Yeah, just like that. It's people. Everybody will say it, right? Like that. It's awesome. There's no doubt about it. Like it's honestly the first thing that's come around in the fishing industry for a long time. It's like a huge thing. Like, why are you so good at fishing? I'm not good at fishing. I just get to fish a lot. That's all. I'm not even good. I just get to fish a lot. It's like anything else. If you do something lots in life, you're gonna get better at it, right? It's not like I'm a natural or anything like that. I just spend lots of times doing it and get lucky a lot. So I'm not even good. I'm just literally a normal person when it comes to fishing.
Read the one about the walleye tournament.
Where
Fat Jack Outdoors, a couple of.
Fishing my first walleye tournament in a couple of weeks. What would your advice be for a beginner tournament angler? Don't overthink. Don't get too worked up during the day. Don't let the little things bother you. Take some time. Like if you break something off, just relax because your first instinct's going to be to like rush it and tie something on really quick and like cast back out. Just take your time, slow yourself down a little bit. And then no matter how you do, whether you do really good or you do really bad or you're in the middle, analyze it after and just think about what you could have did to do better or how your day, you could have improved your day. Take away something from that, but just don't get worked up. I know it's super hard if you're fishing with somebody in the boat, like try to be calm with each other, right? If they're getting angry, try to calm them down too. Just like, hey, it's all good. It's just another day, like in the end, this tournament, it's not going to mean anything anyway, right? Like it's just another day on the lake. But sometimes competition can bring out the worst in the people, and don't let that happen to you. Try to be calm and level headed and chill with it. And then afterwards, just look back and go, what could have we done better? Or even if you won, say like, what did we do that was really good? And what might have happened if this wasn't working? Like, how would we have done? I use it, for example, last year, Carter and I, when we got lucky and we won the Lake of the Prairies Walleye Mafia tournament, we won because we got lucky and we caught a big fish. There was no other big fish caught that day. If we wouldn't have caught that big fish, we would have lost by like half an inch. We'd have been in second. So it was like that. I look back and I go, we only won because we got a pretty lucky bite when it came to it. So what could have we have done to maybe improve our day if we wouldn't have got that bite? Like how could we have won that tournament without getting lucky to catch the big fish? So yeah, compete against yourself, set personal goals. That's a great way, Andrew, for sure. 100%. Why don't you utilize side imaging more? Actually, Jimmy, I do utilize it. Sometimes I just do a bad job of putting it in the videos. And in the video I got coming out tomorrow, I do have a segment in there, a little clip where I'm using the side view and from Garmin and talking about it a little bit. I do use it. I just don't show it on the videos as much as I should. So that's something that I'm going to try to work on bringing it more and more in to videos, and now that I can kind of use my active captain and I can record a couple little things that I'm seeing that's cool. I'll try to bring it more into the videos. I'd like to see more videos. I'd like to even go out and make a video sometime where I'm not even using the live imaging and just the side imaging, right? The side view. I'll go out there and I'll go down the shoreline and be like, okay, those are fish. I'm going to anchor lock and I'm going to cast out this little section, right? Go along, oh, those are fish, anchor lock, etc. So, yeah. For real, I don't stand a chance. For real, I don't stand a chance against me. I'm not sure what that means. I don't stand a chance against me. Clayton, what would you use for speckled trout? Tyler, I have no experience with speckled trout, so I can't really help you too much. If it's like any other stock trout type of thing, I'd try some little spoons like little Cleo, something like that. Good evening from Detroit Lions territory. Been pounding walleye in the Detroit River, my new crest liner. Why can't I get my Helix 7 to mark fish ever? Transducer on my Tarova. You know, Carter has some problems too with his transducer on the Tarova. The biggest thing is it's not a high-end transducer. It probably doesn't have chirp. I'd say just try to crank the sensitivity a little bit. And depending on how deep you're in too, sometimes those fish will shy away from the trolling motor. If it's kicking on and off, obviously you're in deeper water, it's not going to be a thing. But if you're like in 8 feet of water, that trolling motor turns on, those walleye are going to scatter away from the trolling motor a little bit. So if you can mark them on the back of your boat, you know, it's probably more so is what's happening, right? Is that trolling motor spooking them away. But I don't have the answer for you for that for sure. Do you have any plans to make videos from Florida? If I can get back down there again at some point, I definitely would like to make some more videos down there. I was thinking possibly about trying to even go down back to Texas again to one of my clients' old friends' place has a ranch there because the Bassmaster Classic next year is like an hour and a half from his ranch. So part of me was thinking about driving down, taking a boat with me, and then fishing his ranch for a couple days for some largies, take in the whole Bassmaster Classic, and then come home after that. So that's a possibility. Love seeing the live scope on the trolling cranks, super cool. I'm glad you liked it. To me, it was like if I can bring that aspect into the cranking videos, people are just going to learn more, right? So, any recommendations for auto charting fish finder that doesn't break the bank? I don't know. I'm going to try to play with some of the quick draw stuff from Garmin. So you can usually get a Garmin unit on sale at Cabela's for pretty cheap, especially depending on the time of the year. But like a 10-inch or a 9-inch screen, something like that, and then any of their transducers, the 63 or the 65, I believe it is what I'm using. 56, sorry, the 56 is what I have now. I forget what the other one is. 63 maybe. 36. It's the 36. I'm talking before I'm thinking. The 56 what I have is really good, and then the 36 would be pretty good too. But I don't really know the prices on any of those right now, so not sure. Clayton, you're the best. Second best. Sydney's the best. I'm second best. What makes fish negative? Does it last more than a day? Is it a whole lake or be certain fish in an area? That's a great question. Usually it's weather for the most part. Usually it's like some kind of front that's moving in, a pressure system change. If the weather's not consistent weather is usually going to be your best weather. I forget what the statistic is, but the fish can feel like the slightest pressure change, like how we can feel a pressure change of like 0.1 or 0.2, whatever it is. They can feel like a pressure change of like 0.001 or 0.002. It's like they can feel those pressure changes, and that can really change a lot. So anytime you have consistent weather is usually when you're going to get some positive fish. That being said, sometimes when you get like 7-8 days of consistent weather, that can kind of throw into a funk too, and they need a little bit of a change, right, to kind of shift things up. So, but to answer your original question, sometimes it's like the weather for the most part that can put them into a positive to a negative mood. Well, what is going on? The next one down is the LV54. Okay, so yeah, I was just talking with one of the guys I'm working with from Garmin about trying to get some kind of different transducer to be able to do some high speed stuff at some point. So drink them if you got them. Jigging, I can watch my jig go up and down, but never mark a fish and catch them 25 foot deep or more. Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not sure, Joe. Interesting. Drake him if you got him. Marshall Outdoors. I didn't read the name first. That's the other thing. Marshall, how you doing, buddy? What's your recommended live scope setup? I'd say you want like a 10-inch screen probably for the most part. That being said, a 9-inch screen will be okay. In a boat, a 10-inch screen though for sure, just because you're gonna be a little bit farther away from it. When you're ice fishing, it's not as bad to have like a 9-inch screen. Um, and an echo map, and then either did not break the bank, the LVS 32 is great, but if you want the best one, the LVS 34 is probably the best transducer to get for most applications. So that's what I kind of recommend is the LVS 34, and then at least a 10-inch screen is what I'd say. Anyways, we're gonna wrap up this live chat. It's been here for 1 hour. Should be back in another week again from now on Tuesday again, something like that, depending on weather. But the live chats will start rolling again now that the open water season is cranking. I took a little bit of time off from making videos and whatnot, just because the change from ice fishing to open water is my time to get kind of reorganized, get rejuvenated, and all that fun stuff. So thanks everybody for hanging out, and yeah, we'll catch you guys again. We're gonna have a little members chat here. Anybody that is a member, and I want to ask some more questions here in about 5 minutes from now. So we'll see you guys there. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Cheers, guys and girls.